class, disciple of Srimad, Divine Grace of Each and every Divine Swami Prabhupada. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is called the Science of God. There are many sciences: chemistry, physics, maths, astrophysics, microbiology, so many physics, so many sciences, anatomy. And everyone knows that sciences are international. Everyone knows 2 and 2 equals 4. And this and that. H2O, the same in Japanese, in America, in Russia. Where's the science of God? We all think, oh, God is Hindu, God is Christian, God is Muslim. And why is that? Because we don't know who God is. We haven't heard the science of God from Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So today we're having a class. What's the verse today? It's from the 7th canto. Yeah?
2nd chapter, text 7 and 8.
2nd chapter. And this chapter is called Hiranyakashipu, King of the Demons. Okay. Here's my shoulder back. I read from my phone. No, there's a shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is called a Purana. It contains many instructive stories which make it very interesting. Historical accounts going back millions of years in this universe. So, thank you very much. On my phone, I'm reading from what's called a Bhaktivedanta database. You can get everything on your phone. Prabhupada books, Prabhupada conversations, and songs. The advantage of modern technology. You can use this phone in Krishna consciousness. You can use it for forgetfulness of Krishna. But you can use it for a remembrance of Krishna. Let's go back to yoga. So this is 7, canto 7, chapter 2. Canto 7, chapter 2. Chapter is called Hiranyakashipu, King of the Demons. And verses 7 to 8. Okay. I'm going to sing a song which Srila Prabhupada always used to sing, describing that there is an original variegatedness. It's not that the origin of everything is just a big bang or nothingness or something came from nothing. No. Something came from something, and the song describes that something, which is full of variety and beauty and relationships and landscapes and animals, plants. They're all transcendental spiritual terms. In Christianity, Jesus referred to the kingdom of God, and we should love God, but we had no idea what the kingdom of God was like. Because the Bible was meant for different people at different times. Now, Prabhupada, has brought us up to date for modern man, and this song describes a part of the spiritual existence And hopefully my equipment will work right now. Jayananda Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jayananda Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopijana Vallabha Givarana Gopijana Vallabha Givarana Yashodanandana Vajajanandana Yashodanandana Vajajanandana Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Excuse me. We'll also read a couple of paragraphs from the transcendental diary before Bhagavatam.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want.
Yes.
Has to be done then?
Up to you.
Okay, I won't bother.
Okay.
I can read it later, maybe.
Yeah.
You want, you save it, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Tasya
Tasya
Yakta
Tyagata
Svabhavasya
Svabhavasya
Grine
Grine
Maya
Maya
Vanokasha
Vanokasha
Vajantam
Vajantam
Vajamanasya
Vajamanasya
Palasyeva Stira Manaha
Balasyeva Stiratmanaha
Mach Chura
Chura
Bina Rivasya
Machurasya Grisasya
Gurina
Gurina
Rudirena
Rudirena Vai
Asrik Priyam
Asriyam
Tapayishe
Tapayishe
Rataram
Rataram
Me Katavataha
Katayataha
Tasya Jakta Svabhavasya
Tasya Jagata Svabhavasya
Grinemaya Vanokasha
Grinaya Manokasha
Vajantam Bhagam Anasya
Vajantam Vajamanasya
Palasye Vasti Ratmanaha
Balasyeva Stiratmanaha
Nachtra Bina Krivasya
Machura Vinagivasya
Gurina Rudirena Vai
Gurina Rudirena Vai
Asik Priyam Tapayisye
Asripriyam Tarvayishe
Brataram Me Katavataha
Rataram Me Katayataha
Tasya Jakta Svabhavasya
Tasya Jagata Svabhavasya
Grinemaya Vanokasha
Grinemaya Vanokasha
Vajantam Vajamanasya
Vajantam Vajamanasya
Palasye Vasti Ratmana
Balasyeva Stiratmanaha
Machula Binavasya
Machura Vinagivasya
Gurina Rudirena Vai
Gurina Rudirena Vai
Asrik Priyam Tapayisye
Asripriyam Tarvayishe
Rataram Me Katavataha
Rataram Me Katayataha
Tasya Tattva Svabhavasya
Tasya Jagata Svabhavasya
Nimaya Vanokasha
Grine Vajantam Vajamanasya Bhavasya Machulabhinavasya Gurina Vinenavai Asripriyam Taparishe Brataram Negratataha
Tasya tekta svabhavasya
Tasya Jakta Svabhavasya
Nirmaya vanokasah
Nirmaya Vanokasah
Vajatam Vajamanasya
Vajantam Vajamanasya
Balasiva stiratmana
Balasiva Stiratmana
Machulabhina grivasya
Machulabhina grivasya
Gurina rudirena vai
Gurina rudirena vai
Sikpriyam tarpiyasye
Asripriyam Taparishe
Brataram megatavyataha
Brataram Negratataha
Tasya Tyakta Swabhavasya
Tasya Jakta Svabhavasya
Vinirmaya Vanokasaha
Vinirmaya Vanokasah
Vajatam Vajamanasya
Vajantam Vajamanasya
Balasyevasya Atmanaha
Bhavasya Stiratmanaha
Machulabhina Grivasya
Machulabhina grivasya
Bhurina Rudirenavai
Gurina Rudirenavai
Asripriyam Tatpayishe
Asripriyam Taparishe
Rataram Megatavyataha
Brataram Negratataha
Tasya,
Tasya
of him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
of him the Supreme Personality of Godhead
Shakta Svabhavasya,
Shakta Svabhavasya
who has given up his natural position of being equal to everyone.
who has given up his natural position of being equal to everyone.
Rene,
Rene,
most abominable,
most abominable,
Maya,
Maya,
under the influence of the illusory energy.
under the influence of the illusory energy.
Vana Akasha,
Vana Ukasa,
behaving exactly like an animal in the jungle.
behaving exactly like an animal in the jungle.
Bhajantam,
Vajantam,
unto the devotee engaged in devotional service.
unto the devotee engaged in devotional service.
Bhajanamasya,
Vajanasya,
being worshipped.
being worshipped.
Balasya,
Balasya,
a child.
child.
Eva,
Diva,
like.
like.
Asira, Atmanaha,
Asira,
who is always restless and changing.
always and changing.
Mat,
Mat,
my,
my,
Shula.
Shula,
By the trident.
my driver.
Mena,
Vina,
separated.
separated.
Rivasya,
Vasya,
whose neck.
whose name?
Burina,
Burina,
profuse.
Profuse.
Rudrana,
Rudrana,
by blood.
by blood.
By,
By,
indeed.
indeed.
Astrik, Astrik Priyam,
Asripriya,
who was fond of blood.
was fond of blood.
Tapayasya,
Tapayasya,
I shall please.
I shall please.
Brataram,
Brataram,
brother,
brother,
me,
me,
mine.
mine.
Gata, Yataha,
Gata,
becoming peaceful myself.
becoming peaceful myself.
Translation purport, Vishkan Pandacharya, Divine Grace, Avichan Arinda, Bhaktivinoda Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki. This is Hiranyakashipu speaking, the demon Hiranyakashipu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has given up his natural tendency of equality toward the demons and demigods. Although he is the Supreme Person, now, influenced by Maya, he has assumed the form of a boar to please his devotees, the demigods. Just as a restless child leans toward someone. I shall therefore sever Lord Vishnu's head from his trunk by my trident, and with the profuse blood from his body, I shall please my brother Hiranyaksha, who was so fond of sucking blood. Thus shall I too be peaceful. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has given up his natural tendency of equality towards the demons and demigods.
His natural tendency of equality towards the demons and demigods.
Although he is the Supreme Person,
Although he is the Supreme Person,
now influenced by Maya,
now influenced by Maya,
he has assumed the form of a boar.
he has assumed the form of a
To
boar.
please his devotees,
Please the devotees.
the demigods, just as a restless child
Just as a restless child
leans towards someone.
leans towards someone.
I shall therefore sever Lord Vishnu's head
I shall therefore sever Lord Vishnu's
from
head
his trunk by my trident,
and is struck by my trident.
and with the profuse blood from his body,
With the refuse blood from
I
his
shall
body,
please my brother Hiranyaksha,
I shall please my brother.
who was so fond of sucking blood. Thus shall I too be peaceful.
Thus shall I too be peaceful.
Prabhupada Srila. The defect of the demoniac mentality is expressed in this verse very clearly. Hiranyakashipu thought that Vishnu also becomes partial, like a child whose mind is not steady or resolute. The Lord can change his mind at any time, Hiranyakashipu thought, and therefore his words and activities are like those of children. Actually, because the demons are ordinary human beings, their minds change, and being maturely conditioned, they think that the Supreme Personality is conditioned also. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9:11, Avadunanti Mamuda Manusim Tanuvashitam. Fools deride me when I descend in a human form. Demons always think that Vishnu can be killed. Therefore, being absorbed in thoughts of Vishnu's form to kill him, at least they have the opportunity to think of Vishnu unfavorably. Although they are not devotees, their thinking of Vishnu is effective, and thus they generally attain Sayuja Mukti. Because the demons consider the Supreme Lord an ordinary living being, they think that they can kill Lord Vishnu as one might kill an ordinary person. Another fact disclosed herein is that demons are very much fond of sucking blood. Indeed, all of them are meat eaters and blood suckers. Hiranyakashipu accused the Supreme Lord of having a restless mind like that of a small child, who can be induced to do anything if simply offered some cakes and laddus. Indirectly, this indicates the true position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who says in Bhagavad Gita 9:26, Pacham pushpam palantoyam yome bhakta prayachati tadam bhakti uparitam asnami prayatatmana. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf of flower, fruit or water, I will accept it. The Lord accepts the offering of devotees because of their transcendental love. Because they are in love with the Supreme Lord, they do not eat anything without offering it first to the Lord. The Lord doesn't hanker for a small leaf or flower. He has enough to eat. Indeed, he is feeding all living entities. Nonetheless, because he is very merciful and is Bhakta-vatsala, very favorable to the devotees, he certainly eats whatever they offer him with love and devotion. This quality should not be misjudged to be childish. The highest quality of the Supreme Lord is that he is Bhakta-vatsala. In other words, he's always extremely pleased with his devotees. He's always extremely pleased with his devotees. As for the word Maya, when used in reference to the dealings of the Supreme Person of Godhead and his devotees, this word means affection. The actions of the Lord to favor his devotees are not disqualifications, but signs of his natural affection. As for Rudira, or blood of Lord Vishnu, since there's no possibility of severing Lord Vishnu's head from his body, there's no question of blood. But the garland that decorates Vishnu's body is red as blood. When the demons achieve Sayuja Mukti and leave behind their simple activities, they are blessed by Vishnu's garland, which is red like blood. After attaining Sayuja Mukti, the demons are sometimes promoted to the Vaikuntha world, where they receive the reward of the Lord's garland prasad. Srila Prabhupada ki. Wow. That's a lot of amazing purport. What to do? Yeah. Translation: the Supreme Person of God has given up his natural tendency of equality towards the demons, demigods. Although he is the Supreme now influenced by Maya, he has assumed the form of a boy to please his devotees, the demigods, just as a restless child leans towards someone. I shall therefore sever Lord Vishnu's head from his trunk by my trident, and with the profuse blood from his body I shall please my brother Hiranyaksha, who is so fond of sucking blood. That's why it's to be peaceful. Omaganati Mandasya, Yanandana Salakaya, Chakshuramitantina, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam, Savitanya Namaskane, Swayam Rupa Prakamayam, Tadati Svapadantika. Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Gaura Bhakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukham Karo Shashanam, Bhangam Langai Sekilim, Yatripala Salam Bande, Sri Guru Dinacharyanam. As a master, spiritual master, a blind man can see the stars, a layman can climb mountains, and a dumb man can speak poetry. Yes, so Sankirtan movement is to change the demons into devotees. Yeah. Convert the demons into devotees. That's the idea of the Sankirtan movement. By hook or by crook, Srila Prabhupada introduced this process in the West, 1965, 1966, and so on, up to the present day. And he wrote these books for us, Srimad Bhagavatam, the story of Hiranyakashipu, the account of Hiranyakashipu, and his brother Hiranyaksha, and how they came. Actually, they were cursed, these two demons were cursed. Jai and Vijay, 4 Kumaras were trying to go to Vaikuntha to see Narayan. And they were naked and they were challenged by the 2 gatekeepers improperly. The gatekeepers by the Lord's amazement, they were cursed. And Lord Narayan came and said, "Oh, I'm very sorry. My gatekeepers have cursed you." So they ended up in this material world to play the part of enemies of the Lord. It says just to play the part. The Lord cannot fight in the spiritual world. That's a disadvantage of the spiritual world. The Lord sometimes wants to fight. Who can he fight with? Just like a father fights with his child, or a friend fights with a friend. So the fighting spirit is there. Prabhupada told the story of Gauranga The Lord has different pastimes, and we can understand them in different ways. Prabhupada gives the example of the big industrialist, like Elon Musk, millionaire. He wanted to see the Prime Minister, Emperor Gladstone, not Emperor Gladstone, Prime Minister of England, Gladstone. He's a very dignified man. So he had an appointment with Gladstone. He was waiting at 10 Downing Street to see the Prime Minister. He fixed the time, and the busy man. Somehow the Prime Minister was busy. Somehow the Prime Minister was busy. 10 o'clock now, 10:30, now 11. What's the Prime Minister doing in there? So he looked through the keyhole of the door. And what did he see? He saw that, I know you all know the story. It's very boring. At least I'm remembering it. So he saw the Prime Minister, the dignified Prime Minister Gladstone, was crawling on the floor, and his grandson was hitting him with a stick, umbrella or something. Because of his affection for his grandson, he was playing the part of a donkey. You see? So the Lord, he loves his devotees, and he likes to play with them. So he comes to this material world to fight sometimes. And then the demons also, you can see here. Somehow or other, it's mysterious and amazing, but Hiranyakashipu knows Vishnu is the Supreme Person, he got it. And then he's accusing him of being unfavorable. He knows that God is equal to all. So, yeah. Sometimes I wonder, how God is equal to all. I realized, I just read that in Sudan, because refugees from the fighting, they have to walk 40 kilometers in the burning sun, and they're dying because they've got nothing to eat. They die on the road, and they're eating charcoal and leaves. Because they're so hungry, they're eating charcoal and leaves. There's no food, no water. So then we think, how is God equal to all? What have they done? Why are they suffering like this? But actually, when we look with devotees' eyes, we see everyone is suffering. I see in the park here, I went in the park, there's some nice birds tweeting. I can't make bird song, a beautiful bird song. And I was thinking, that's such a beautiful bird song. But what are they tweeting about? They're tweeting about their territory. This is my tree, and where am I going to eat? And everyone is suffering birth, disease, old age, and death. Prabhupada wrote in one purport about this world of suffering. I wrote a song, welcome to the world of death, my friend, tossing with the waves of time. Your wife, your children, your relatives, nobody will survive. Welcome to the world of death, my friends. So, it's our own fault, And Prabhupada is trying to point out, this is not the place for us to live. It's not our real home. And the Lord is favorable to his devotees. That's how we're trying to make devotees. When we go on the street, we're chanting Hare Krishna, getting people to dance and sing. A few years ago, we were also demons. I like to tell the story when I first saw the Harinam party in London, Ladbroke Grove. That's the area where, students and the blacks and people who have no money, they hang out, Caribbeans. And I was in darkest ignorance. I won't go to tell you how ignorant I was. In polite society, I can't say that. But I was standing on the street corner it was Sunday. I had this jacket, it was a fairly warm jacket. It was a cold morning. It was fog. Especially in Cologne, you get a lot of fog. Can't see much. There was a railway bridge. It's a Portobello Road, actually. There's a big market on Sunday. And that's where the devotees used to come and chant. Because that's where the alternative community is there. Young people searching a business. So I was just standing there on the street corner. And in the fog, there was a railway bridge. It was very dark. And I didn't know what I was doing with my life, or the purpose of life. I don't know why I was standing there, or anything. Just I was standing. And all I heard, I didn't know what was going on. What's this tick-tick? And then the devotees came out of the fog. And then all of a sudden, it's a true story. Anyway, I've told it a million times. The sun broke through the fog, like a spotlight on these devotees. And they've been dancing for 2-3 kilometers from Notting Hill Gate. And they're sweating like anything. Dancing with robes and teal-up shaped heads and, blank, bed sheets, pink bed sheets. And because the bodies were so hot and the air was so cold, could have been this season or it could have been winter. There was like steam, aura coming from their bodies, like a horror film, like a horror movie. They have this white ice to make mystical, seem like that. And they're chanting and they're dancing. And I was looking, and my reaction was, it's horrible. How horrible. I felt like vomiting. That was my immediate reaction. Let me get out of here. This is too horrible. I'd never seen him before. I never could conceive of that people could do this. But deep in my heart, even from childhood, I was brought up in a Christian culture, and Jesus and Kingdom of God and loving God and with all your heart, with all your soul, you know, that chanting somehow or other made me respect those devotees. Even though I was horrified, I thought they are doing something, you know, transcendental, like Jesus was doing. You know, they must love God. It's like in my unconscious, I was there, it was penetrated somehow or other. So when we go and hang out, many people, they don't want to dance with us. They avoid us. They don't like us. Not everyone likes us. They may complain to the police. But they're here. They're hearing this sound vibration. And it's awakening the soul, awakening their souls from their sleeping bad dream. Jeev jago, Gaur Chandra bole, Kosa Nidra Yama, Pisa Shirako. Wake up, Lord Chaitanya's calling. How long will you lie in that lap of the witch called Maya? What does Maya mean? Maya means that which is not. And what is that illusion? The illusion is that we're all trying to be the lords of material nature. But actually, we're under the grip of a stringent laws, Prabhupada writes. I realize, you know, that so I'm not into etymology, which is the science of language, but the Lord, L-O-R-D, and laws, L-A-W-S, obviously they're related. And the Lord makes laws, the laws of nature. And although we're under the grip of stringent laws of nature, we're trying to think, we're trying to be free. We're mad, we're completely crazy. This is Maya. This is completely mad that although we're controlled by nature, we're trying to control nature. And then Prabhupada goes on to say, in this polluted concept of life, we're all trying to exploit the resources of material nature. But actually, we're becoming more and more involved in her complexities. You know, we can all see, you know, that we're involved in her complexities. Big roads, big cars, planes flying overhead, skyscrapers. You know it all, everyone knows this, the devotees know. But Mogasa Mogakana Mogigana Vichetisa, Rakshasam Aksharam Jaiva Mohin Prapitim Shita. All these attempts will be baffled, Krishna says. All the attempts at karma, developed nations, you know, they'll be baffled. All the attempt at knowledge, it will be baffled for all the demons. All the demons' attempts will be baffled. So we're living in the world of the demons. I mean, we shouldn't say that, but they're nice people. we like them. They're our friends. You know, sometimes people think, how can I dance and sing with people like who are demons? You know, they're my friends. They're living beings like me. We're all in the same boat. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. We're going to grow old and die. It's just that Somehow or other got the message Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya. And we got the holy name, we got prasadam. So we're all in the same boat. It's just that, you know, we have different roles to play now. We're Sankirtan devotees. We're going out and we are friendly with them. We're not putting it on. They're nice people. Especially, you know, those who clap their hands and move their feet. You know, and when in the kirtan you can see someone's taking a photo, mobile phone, you know, and you know, their boyfriend, you know, he's trying to pose for his girlfriend. This is very common. But, you know, strictly speaking, they're all blood eaters, they're drinking fresh bloods, fresh steaks, beef, pork, all this stuff, which we used to eat. And they're drunk or sometimes I think, well, actually, you know, one time in Boston, actually the first time I joined Harinam maybe the second time, Boston, it was a centenary of Prabhupada, 1996 or something. The devotees made a big boat in Boston Harbor. That was the year. And there was a weed in. Somehow the police said, okay, everyone can smoke their weed in the park. So all the students were there, you know, with their joints and smoking. So we thought, let's go and have a good hour now. And everyone would join in. But you know, yeah man, great man. Completely on the metal platform, you know, relaxed and all this lying there, stone up their brains, you know. It wasn't such a good kid, but everyone was hearing, of course. But then sometimes I think, well, alcohol's better. You got more energy on the physical platform. They can dance and sing. Yeah, that's my opinion, you know. So, because we lose inhibitions, I mean, we're a little tipsy, a little drink. Because a really drunk man is dangerous. We should don't just keep away from him. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's drunk. So we have to be careful, of course. But you know, this whole Lila Hiranyakashipu Hiranyaksha is to remind us, you know, that Krishna is equal to everyone. And therefore he's killing some people, starving some people. And you know, Ukraine bombing some people, horrors of war, the horrors of material conditions, yeah, earthquakes, all these terrible things which kill our body. But we know we're not this body, and we have to learn this lesson, that we're not this body. So this holy name is teaching, actually, this educational movement. It's not Hinduism. Some people say, Indians say, oh, here are the Hindus, the white Hindus chanting on the street. We're not Hindus. This is a science to awaken everyone's dormant love for God, and to free us from this repetition of birth and death. So thank you very much for listening. And what time is the class finish? 9:45?
9.
9, oh. The time for questions, please. I run out of steam here. So you can go into the topic more.
Maharaj,
Yeah.
how can we,
it's very hard to tangibly see when people chant Hare Krishna or they like the Harinam, to see them actually like become a devotee or take spiritual life seriously. It kind of seems like a momentary thing, and they're just enjoying the music. It doesn't seem like if they get, yeah, that's what it looks like. So how can we actually understand what's going on in their life when they take part in Harinam?
And one Sangatana story I like to tell, which is revealing. It shows that, what we're doing is actually helping people. There's one devotee in Denmark, called Yadranandana. He's an older devotee now, Hare Krishna disciple. So he went to London with his father when he was about 12. And they ended up going to the waxworks of Madame Tussauds in Euston Road, Marylebone. Waxworks means you see Adolf Hitler, you see Marilyn Monroe, you see Kirk Douglas, everyone, Stalin, beautiful, like real Winston Churchill. And you walk around and you see this. So there's a long line of people. Long line of people waiting to queue up. They have to pay money. And this boy, was in London with his father, and his father was taken to the waxworks, Madame Tussauds. So one manager was doing books. And coming up behind them, if you're doing a queue, you have to come up behind. In case someone refuses, and then everyone refuses, you come up behind. So then she was a sweet person, and the father, okay, she's nice, and took the book, Ishopanachad, gave her some money. He didn't want the book. He was far from, he was a mediator, he was everything. He wasn't a devotee, but because she was, affectionate to him. Sometimes everybody feels affection, it's not just mantras and salesmanship. But anyway, she took a book and he immediately gave it to his boy. Yeah, you can have this. So when they got back to Denmark, there was a radio program, and he was getting older and older, like 16, 17, hormones were kicking in, he was frustrated and didn't know what to do in his life. But one thing he liked, he listened to the Radio Krishna. And he used to play bhajans and kirtans on the radio. And he's becoming more and more depressive. What's the point of life? What's the goal of my existence? Why I have to go? Why I have to die? All these questions unanswered in his mind. So he's the only release from this torment as an adolescent, a young person, was his music. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. This was like at the time of the Beatles also. And George Harrison was listening to the Hare Krishna mantra. And then one night, that book! He went downstairs in the middle of the night. He found the book. It was on the family bookshelf. And they had a few books in the family bookshelf. He opened it up. Prabhupada's book, Ishopanachad. And he started to read. Problem solved. I'm going to join the Hare Krishna. So he left. He left home, he went to the temple and joined shaved head, everything, robes. So then, after like a week or so, he came back. And his father was dead. What happened to you? Same with shaved head, robes, everything. Well, Father, it was that book you gave me. You gave me that book. Give me that book. He ripped it up. He ripped up the Upanishad right in front of his eyes. So the Maha Mantra, we cannot see it working like, and even the books we cannot see when it's going to work. When the person's going to read the book. The combination is there, and especially the Maha Mantra is there. And personally, when I do dance and sing with people, which I do a lot of, I see their faces change. You can say aura, or their eyes. As they're chanting, sometimes they're laughing, they're giggling, and they don't know what's happening. It's the last thing they wanted to do is dance with Hare Krishna. It's like, the young people, it's like, they're rejecting God. They don't want God. They don't want it half the time. But of course, in their hearts, they want it. So somewhere or other, they're induced by the rhythm. Like Prabhupada Mukunda, when he was running the first Madanga, which came to San Francisco, Prabhupada said, rhythm is the universal religion. Rhythm is universal religion. Well, it has a universal effect on everyone. People love a good beat, and we saw that in Roger Park in Amsterdam. Good beat, good music, enthusiastic dancing. People are uplifted by this. They're looking for freedom. The freedom is, dancing and singing, so they become enlightened right on the spot. Of course, you may argue they're going to go back to their old habits, but we have to believe what Krishna says. Neha Bhikkamanasasti, Pratyavayana Vijite, Svalbhamapapsiddhamasya, Prate Mahato Bhayan. We're giving them, first-hand experience of devotional service. Lots of times we're giving us a taste for the nectar for which we're always anxious. So, in some cases, subliminal, like me. I didn't like the chanting. I didn't want to chant. Even my friend came from London. I was very reluctant to chant. And he was trying to get me to chant. And the only reason I chanted, you know what reason why I started to chant? Because he was my friend, my old friend. He started to chant, and then he got me to chant. So this is the way the movement is spreading, through friendship with the devotees. Everyone's a devotee at heart. Shivara Sarupa Vayanatya Krishna Das. Everyone's a servant of Krishna. This is the way a devotee sees. We're supposed to see like this. Not supposed to, but by chanting we realize, they're nice people. Everyone's nice. And the chanting is for them. We're giving them something. Shreya Karava, the highest welfare. We're giving the highest charity, the best thing. We're giving them. So, So maybe we can't see instantly the future, but from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and Bhagavad Gita, that we know. And there's many stories, millions of stories. You know, you can all tell stories, you know, from your own life. How you first met devotees, like Chuprasana, how you heard all their names. And then gradually something happened. You got kicked by Maya, and you took it seriously. You started to chant. So it's a gradual process. So we can't see people's future, but we can hear, we can see from the Prabhupada's preaching how it worked. He sat in the park, Pumpkin Square Park, chanted, and then people gathered around, they also chanted. More and more people gathered around, they chanted. It's a snowball effect that's happening all over the world. So we have to believe what Lord Chaitanya says. And I'm sure you believe, as you will be doing it.
Maharaj, we saw many, especially young people, joining in the first 20, 30 years of the movement. But in the last 30 years, we don't see many young people sort of joining the temple or shaving up or being enthusiastic about it. It's not like, it's not so many people. Like one or two come a year, we're very excited, for example. So what's the difference between the first 30 years and the last 30 years of the movement?
Well, when I joined in the 70s, in the 1970s, Hare Krishna was a household word, you know. Hare Krishna mantra, up in the parks, churches and things. It was popular. So that was George Harrison's and the other devotees' gifts to the world. And we were joining the temple, and when I joined the temple, there were about 7 or 8 new bhaktas. You know, they're like, there was Subhag, later to become Subhag Swami, Bhakti Vinaya and the Srimad, Bhakti Vijayananda Swami. So many Swamis joined at the same time. They were just new hippies, they just rolled up. It was a special time. In the 60s and early 70s, special time. Now I've seen in London, you know, the Soho Street Temple, you know, became more like a Hindu temple because Radha and Krishna were there, Jagannath, so many Indians would come there. And so young people got turned off by them. What's this? Because they're in ignorance, so they think, well, is this a Hindu movement? Is it an Indian movement? So Devamrita Swami and others in ISKCON have tried to find ways around this prejudice, you know. I mean, here, you know, if a young man comes in from the street, we give him a leaflet, he comes here, what would he think? Church is looking like church again, classes and, you know, of course nice kirtans, but it looks like I'm getting brainwashed to, you know, to surrender to God. Okay. You know, so people are agnostic, you know, and or atheist young people. So they were Rita Swami and almost followed them, which is to some extent. So he started Studio 108, which is like it doesn't look like a temple, but it looks more like a snack bar. And downstairs is like how do you say? A hangout kind of place, atmosphere, with instruments, and then there's classes. They never asked me to give class. Because I'm too direct, you know. And maybe I could. They give more general idea of preaching, so people are not turned off by institutionalized religion. People don't want institutionalized religion. They're frightened about it. That's why the street is good. And then some kind of the halfway house, if you like. Just like in Moranbah in New Gauradesh in Australia. The bottom of the hill they have, what do you call it? Yoga village?
Krishna village.
Krishna village. So it's a hangout for backpackers, young people, boys and girls. There's places they can stay. They're not strict on the rules and regulations, but there are classes on yoga and permaculture and massage and all this, you know. And for breakfast, they all come up the hill. Beautiful breakfast. Wow. They don't want to become devotees, but this breakfast is amazing. And you know, you see them all, like 50, 60, all taking breakfast, and someone's, they know it's Hare Krishna, but they like it to start them. So then from that, the devotees have some kirtans also, and they sift out those people who are more serious about spiritual life. They want to go more deeply into it, and then they have, what's the next place? Krishna House?
Krishna pad.
Huh?
Krishna pad.
Krishna?
Pad.
Sorry?
Pad.
Krishna what?
Pad. P-A-D.
Krishna Pad. That's an old-fashioned hippie thing. Krishna Pad. So then it's more Krishna conscious. And then they have another one before we come to
That's the ashram.
Huh?
Then I go into the ashram.
Well, then they're ready to go into ashram. This is the way they're doing it now. When I see this set up here, I'm not surprised people don't join so easily. It's very, you know, everyone's got saffron robes, shaved heads. You know, if I join, you know, I think twice about coming in here, you know. But, you know, when I joined, I was completely beaten, you know, I was finished in material life. I crawled in the door, you know, like a worm, you know. And I could take anything, even shaved head. And I was beaten. But maybe young people are not beaten enough. So they have to be tempted in, you know, more tactfully, you know, into a hangout where they can take percent. And I've seen also in Africa, you know, in Africa, with all due respect to the preachers in Africa, mostly preaching was taken over by the Indians, and they built big temples, Radha Krishna and Ganesha, and all the, you know, big deity program. Now the Christian population, the blacks in Kenya, they're taught that idol worship is evil. and yet we try and, you know, hope that they're going to come and devote. The Prophet said in Kenya, he said, they are the proprietors, we should be preaching to them. We should be preaching to the blacks, the people who own the country. But then we're stuck in our ways, you know. We think, no, this is the only way to preach. So I was always trying to, and then eventually, Govinda, with the help of the local Indian community, actually, we bought another house near the temple, over the Urkut temple. And that's it's called Hare Krishna Hostel, you know that?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna hostel. And the students, university students, they can stay there for cheaper than they can if they have to get a lodge outside. And the advantages of staying there is that they can't have girlfriends, they can't have drugs. And they get nice food, and they get a short class every day. And this is called base. In India we call this base. It's another way of preaching. You know, soft preaching. The students from university are there, they get a devotee association, one class or two, they get prasadam, and they get protected from Maya. And just over the road is the temple. They can go if they want. So that's it's making devotees. Now they're opening a one for the managers also, for the ladies. So there are different ways to do it, you know. I don't know if you're doing it in Cologne, but this is not the only way. This kind of temple is not the only way. Some devotees can think of ways we can, you know, make it Krishna consciousness more accessible to both young boys and girls. And it's the way I see it. Working in London, we make quite a few devotees now. Working all over the world. Yeah. Of course, the books are the basis still. We encourage people to read Prabhupada's books. Most popular, of course, the most popular book often is Science of Self-Realization, because it's presented in, you know, in a more digestible way than like give someone a Bhagavad Gita, Sanskrit and all that. But if the Science of Self-Realization is like, you know, it's cool, you know, it's quite a cool book. Another book. So maybe, you know, this is a test. This 60s and 70s, it was very easy preaching because of the George Harrison, the Beatles, everything. And Prabhupada just, you know, and just disappeared or not disappeared. But now's a different time. We have to think of tactics to do it, make it work. Yeah, otherwise it's just in-house. Preaching shouldn't be in-house. I like Gauradesh actually. She's come from Gauradesh because, you know, of course, Bhagavan, because he could be blamed in some ways. At least a lot of people, public are coming. There's a bakery, there's a restaurant, there's a boutique, and then there's guided tours, and it's soft, you know. It's soft. You know, soft preaching, and then, like, you could have Nam. Do you have Nam huts in Germany? Nam huts, smaller groups in different places. You have Nam hut preaching?
Yes, Mahavishnu.
How many in Cologne? Huh? You have small groups preaching in Nam hut. That's what we should have, you know. Because Delhi is different, but they have 40 bases in Delhi, 40. It's one of the biggest cities of the world, but they have 40 student centers where people become Krishna conscious, and it's very effective, you know. So we can think like this. Yeah. Okay, so much time. Of course, I'm not trying to discourage anyone, but it's lovely to be here. Thanks for coming. And but maybe we have to think outreach, how we're going to outreach so that young people can get coming closer. What do you think?
I think it's good.
Prabhu? Can you say
Yeah,
a few words?
Yeah, I was thinking because we put the holy name out, and then the books are going out, and yes, Hare Krishna is not a household word, so we kind of like accepted that we'll just wait till they read the book, or we'll wait till something happens inside. So I was thinking more in terms of how to speed up the process. So something like what you're mentioning
Yeah,
about like having a more accessible place where it's not like a temple environment where there's so many rules that you have to worry about. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And Namahatas, of course, is also very accessible as well.
yeah, there's room for preaching and taking responsibility. Because we don't want to, because the paying around selling books, that's what in people's minds, get the money. So books is a way to get the money. But you know, after they read the books, then what? We have to pick up those interested somehow. And if they walk in the door, they may not be interested. But they may get blown out. You know. Somebody says, okay, you're going to shave up, you're going to follow the 4 eggs. Bye-bye, you know. Yeah. So maybe this is a nice discussion, thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Nanda Kumar.